Alright, hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're going through TIFU, or Today I Effed Up. If it's not self-explanatory, it's a sub where people put in all their worst screw-ups and we just get to read them and have a laugh. So yeah, sit back, enjoy, and let's get into it. Today I effed up, and tits 14 years too late to fix. Most of us have a name for our spouse or a significant other. Playing with Siri one day, I changed my wife's name on my phone to Tits McGee. I never bothered to change it back. Obviously, when you change the name of someone on your phone, that name is associated with all the contact information for that person. So even though my wife's name isn't a part of her email address, every time I'd email her, the name shown would be Tits McGee. For 14 years, I thought I was the only one that saw that. However, every email I have ever sent that had my wife copied on, the recipient saw Tits McGee. Every email, including our daycare center. I'd like to thank the wonderful team at Chuck E. Cheese Event Planning for pointing this information out to me in an extremely professional manner. I mean, I have to say, thankfully, you've managed to go 14 years without this, like, getting your daughter barred from going to, like, the daycare or whatever because of the name and they were, like, being stingy or whatever. So it doesn't seem like you screwed up too bad, but I'm sure everyone had quite a laugh at your expense, including me. Today I effed up by getting a tattoo of my mum in a bikini. Just to start this, I don't know in what world this sounds like a good idea. My dad passed away a few months ago. I was really close to him and I miss him a lot. My dad had quite a few tattoos, but one of them I remember dearly. It was this pin-up style tattoo of a lady in a Hawaiian skirt and coconut bra on his calf. I always liked that tattoo, even though I thought it was pretty badly done. Most of the color vanished over the years, and I remember our dad letting us color in the tattoo with markers when he wanted to take a nap and keep us busy. My mum always disapproved, and I never understood why, until now. One day, about 2 weeks after he passed away, I was walking around the city and came by a tattoo shop. One thing led to another, and I walked out of the shop with the same tattoo my dad had, the lady with the coconut bra. The artist did a great job at recreating the tattoo, and I was very happy. Until I got home and wanted to show my mum. My aunt was there, my dad's sister, and started laughing like crazy. My mum looked quite shocked. Not the reaction I was expecting at all. I didn't understand what was happening until my aunt told me, "Well, now you've got your mum on you forever, in a skimpy outfit. Great choice." Well, long story short, my dad got this tattoo about a year after they started dating. She wore this outfit to a party, took a photo, and he got it tattooed a few weeks later. Great. I was a bit confused because my mum has always had blonde hair. The tattoo lady's got black hair, but apparently she had a short phase of dyeing her hair black for a few months. My mum always hated that tattoo. They almost broke up because of it back then. She made him swear that he's never going to tell anyone the story behind that tattoo. Hence why I didn't know anything about it, and I never asked. I thought this was just a random tattoo he got on one of his many vacations. Well, now I have a tattoo of my mum in a coconut bra. Great. My mum told me she doesn't mind and that it's kind of funny now, but I'm really thinking of getting it removed. At least it's on my ribcage so I can hide it for the time being. I really don't want to show the world my mum in a bikini. At least it's not what I was thinking from the start, where you just got a tattoo and thought it was a great idea. Tattoos are such a weird thing. I have quite a few tattoos myself, but if I got a tattoo and it was like this woman, it was my mother in a bikini because I got it because my dad liked whatever. If I was in this situation, I wish they wouldn't have said anything so that I could just live my life thinking it was just a random woman and not caring. Because yeah, you didn't know that. Now you were doing well, but if you're gonna, yikers. But now, yeah, you kind of have to get that removed, and that's not gonna be fun. Also, like, it's got the color in it, so that's gonna be a lot to get rid of. Good luck. Today I effed up by laying my head on my boyfriend's lap. Last night, my boyfriend and I were watching a movie on the couch and we were both pretty tired. I was laying across the couch with my head on his lap. Sometime during the movie, I ended up knocking out. I was woken up by the foulest thing I've ever smelled. The fart itself was pretty quiet, but it was almost like the smell came first and then the sound. Sometimes I sleep with my mouth open, allergies, and I tasted it in my mouth somehow. I shot right up and started coughing. I wanted to yell at my boyfriend for ripping ass right near my face, and turns out he was knocked out too. He definitely heard about this detail once he woke up. I learned my lesson about sleeping on his lap. All trust has been broken and my eyes sting a little. Yes, I blame him even though he was asleep, because why did it have to stink so bad? My F up was putting my life in his hands. That just sounds horrendous. I'm not sure you can actually blame someone who's asleep, but that's horrendous. That's ugh. Just don't sleep. Don't spend too much time around the orifice down there when you're not awake or you're not like doing things, because it's just not gonna work out like that, you know. Today I effed up by calling in sick to work, then bumping into my boss at the movies. Had a rough week and really needed a mental break, so I called in sick on Friday to get a long weekend. I didn't plan anything wild, just wanted to relax, clear my head, and catch a matinee movie without distractions. So I threw on a hoodie and sunglasses, feeling like a low-key celebrity trying to avoid recognition, grabbed some popcorn, and settled into the theater for my 2 p.m. show. As the trailers ended and the light dimmed, I noticed someone sit 2 seats over. It was my boss, with his wife, also apparently sick. We exchanged one awkward glance, didn't say a word, and sat through the whole movie in silence. Monday at work, super awkward. We just pretended nothing happened. Well, I mean, if you're both doing it, then at least none of you can be mad at the other. And I mean, like, I respect the move in general, and the fact that you're both doing it. You can't be called out, but it is something that they will have in their head for future if you're ever calling out sick. So it is a bit of a shame there. Today I effed up by finding out my friend is racist when I wanted to surprise him. I don't mean haha dark humor racist. I mean a racist that tries to mask it as a joke so they can speak freely. I can handle a racist joke if it's actually funny and creative, but it's rare, and the friend shares the class with me. Sorry if I'm rambling, I'm so upset right now. 17M, I'm a culinary student. My culinary teacher had over 20 baskets of strawberries left over. Going to be honest, I was having a week due to the pressure of college and wanted to make at least one person's day better. So I took one basket with the intention of handing them out at lunch to be nice. As I was handing it out at lunch, got the underclassmen to smile and it cheered me up. I went over to my friend's table. I hear him making awful comments as black people and saying slurs. He was so invested, he didn't see me walking up to the table to offer the strawberries to the table. I am black. Normally his jokes are implied or you fill in the blank. I let those slide because I didn't think he could be that awful. Think extremely corny and dry. He finally saw me and he gets nervous. He didn't expect me, but then the bastard doubles down. It doesn't count since I didn't say it around them. It's not racist to say words if it's private. And another dude I genuinely respected said, "Oh, like her?" This was unprompted. I would have let it slide if it didn't come out so naturally. I can tell if you say it in private just from how it sounds. If you say it a lot, it has a type of flow to it. I tried to laugh it off, but I just shook my head and walked off. He tried to tell me, "Come on, OP, you know I was joking." I handed the last of the remaining strawberries to my economics teacher. The one friend who I lost respect for was very quiet in class. Normally we would chat and he would hype me up on assignments. The racist friend who was making the jokes had a history of being called creepy, but in my attempt to get along with every one of my peers, I kept them in mind but still interacted with him. I couldn't fit in all his allegations and things he admitted on one post without lengthening it. I feel like an idiot for feeling bad for him. Normally share reels with each other, and when he was going through a breakup, I went out of my way to make sure there wasn't a couple in it. I never dated before, so I thought it was an appropriate action. Just to find out from his mutual that his version of the breakup wasn't true. My friend ranted to the mutual about relationship issues, and when the girl found out, she broke up with him. The mutual told me that he called her out for her name multiple times and thought that she was cheating with her lesbian friend. He was being insecure. That's why. Now I'm ghosting him on Instagram and am short with him in class, but he hasn't noticed. The mutual is cutting contact and so will I. I swear, Virginia has been the most racist place I've ever lived. You think you know a guy. As someone who also is kind of the appeasing type, doesn't want to like start too many situations, I totally get this. Obviously you can tell I'm not the biggest recipient of racial abuse or poor tasting racial jokes. I don't have any personal experience with this, but I definitely can say that I've been around people who do make these jokes and it's so uncomfortable. Especially when you have a couple brain cells and you know that they're just not good things to say, and maybe you're stuck in a situation you can't get out of, like it's a school trip, you're sat next to them on the bus or something, and it's just not cool. I don't know if I like don't understand everything that went on. Like there's some allegations in here which he didn't actually like put in any, so I'm not sure why that was brought up. And I didn't really get this whole breakup thing, like sharing reels and not putting couples in it. I guess he's just trying to not remind this guy that they were in a relationship after their breakup. I guess it seems that they broke up because they ranted about their relationship problems to a friend. I'm assuming that the problems are not what normal problems are and they were ranting about other things, because it's not that weird to talk to your friends about relationship issues. I personally think that you should definitely be careful on what you share, especially because you can influence your friends against or towards your partner based on what you say. And if you're only saying negative things, you're only talking about the issues with the friend, they're probably going to eventually start telling you to break up with the friend and that to break up with your partner, and that your partner is not good. And that might be completely wrong. It's just because you're only talking about the issues and you're just trying to lean on them when you need support. So that's why it's probably better to do that with someone like a therapist who's more trained in this thing, and they can also look at situations more objectively and try to help you understand them, rather than just your friend who's always wanting to take your side and they're always wanting to help. And so they're like, oh yeah, that sounds horrendous. Oh yeah, screw them. Because, you're going to influence them against your partner. I don't know if maybe that's just what they were doing or what, but yeah. Ooh, we have an update. A TIFU update by finding out my friend is racist when I wanted to surprise him. I'm called the Jolly Green Giant because I'm big and very nice to everyone, so the fact that someone was racist to me pissed them off faster than I expected. Before I start, thank you to everyone for giving me your support. I woke up sick thanks to pollen and was already annoyed, so I was mad enough to be petty. I messaged our black classmate and she recommended I tell the teacher immediately, but she appreciated me holding off because I didn't want to leave her out. She hasn't been to school in a few days, but she told me that when she comes back, she'll go off on him. We'll call my former friend Ken. I spent my whole day being a professional hater. First, I contacted his sister. I've had her info since freshman year, but we slowly stopped talking via text. Then I told all our mutuals. Keep in mind, I woke up early for this. All of them sided with me, and the one who was already on a short fuse with him was ready to chew him out. I also told the person Ken is afraid of black classmate who gives 0% tolerance if she says anything racist. As expected, she told another female classmate, and I confirmed everything in class when she asked me. The reason I contacted Ken's sister was for 3 reasons. So he couldn't lie to her when he inevitably gets reported by me. My mother's favorite thing to say is, I'd rather hear it from you first than a teacher. Ken is very sensitive about his older sister and admitted to stabbing a guy's hand in workshop class because someone insulted her. Hear me out. Culinary has a bunch of knives and there's a good chance he'd stab me. So I wanted a paper trail, assuming he's not lying, he's clearly not above stabbing people. Third, she deserved to know. I'm 6'2", Ken is roughly 5'5", and I'm double his weight, so I refuse to fight someone if I have a physical advantage. I get even. His sister sincerely apologized on his behalf. It was a hell of a lot better than his. During class, he walked up to me and said, "Look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean you specifically. I told him firmly, "Stop talking. I heard what you said. You're making it worse." I knew where he was going because my hand flinched hard as hell into a fist, which isn't normal for me, and I knew I might punch him. I didn't realize how mad I was until I heard him speak. I wanted to say, "They were all right about you," just to mind, but I just wanted to get out of there. I never heard a worse apology in my life. He missed every single quick time. I'll be damned before I get called one of the good ones, and I felt it coming. I told the teacher in detail what happened. She was appalled and said she would talk to Ken. My friend with the short fuse told me she wanted to cuss Ken out, but he said it wouldn't help. He recommended I tell a security guard who's bigger and taller than me. I swear to God, he's like a bodybuilder or something. He got mad and told me to report it to the principal immediately, since the school doesn't tolerate racism. So I emailed her since she was in back-to-back meetings. I'll link it in the comments. And she actually replied. My mum fully supports me, but she said going to his sister was too much. I'll admit it was petty, but I don't feel bad since I haven't stopped sneezing, so he must be talking. In the TLDR here, we can see that the comments that this person made, which he didn't put in the original post, was that he called him a knuckle-dragging watermelon sucker, which is insane. It is insane. Alright, we have a picture of the email here. "Hello, Mrs. Blorp. My name is Blorp. I apologize if this is long, but I believe that this is very serious. Either on Monday or Tuesday this week, I was trying to be kind and hand out extra strawberries we had from culinary class and caught my former friend Blorp making racist remarks about black people. I am black, felt personally attacked and insulted. I confronted him and he called me a knuckle dragger and a watermelon sucker. But later he said he didn't mean it to me specifically, which didn't make it better. I pretended to laugh it off but was fuming and walked away. I did not hurt him in any way as retaliation. I told him to stop talking as he was upsetting me more. This happened outside at lunch and it was caught on camera. He also regularly brags about how someone was making fun of his family member in woodshop class, as he calls it. He then intentionally stabbed their hand and said it was an accident and got away with it. We are in culinary class where we regularly deal with knives. I don't feel safe around him with this information and his now known hatred for my kind. Hey Blorp, thank you for reaching out to me. I just got back to my office and am currently in a meeting, but I will be sure to address the other student as soon as possible. I am out tomorrow morning, but will try to reach him before your shared class." Obviously that reply doesn't give us any information, but it's good to know that this principal is going to do something hopefully before they are in another shared class together. I'm glad to get an update because, yeah, we ended up without actually figuring out what the comment was. "Today I effed up by accidentally proposing in a Home Depot." How do you accidentally propose? I mean, I guess we're gonna find out, but... "My girlfriend and I were at a Home Depot picking out a new shower head. We were joking around, pretending to roleplay as boring suburban homeowners. I said something like, 'I just want to build a life with you, and maybe tile a backsplash someday.' She laughed and said, 'Wow, that almost sounded like a proposal.' So I, being a dramatic idiot, got down on one knee in the plumbing aisle with a washer ring and said, 'Will you marry me, babe?' We were laughing until she said yes. Dead serious, eyes misty, voice shaking. Yes. Oh my god, yes! I froze. I panicked. I was not proposing, I was pretending. And I just went with it. We're engaged now. Our families know. There's a group chat. I still haven't told her it wasn't real." I think it's really weird that she accepted the washer ring as like a ring, because I think anyone who knows what a washer ring is knows that it doesn't look like an actual ring. And so it's fairly obvious that it's not meant to be. I guess the only real thing, it's a weird situation. I guess the only real thing you need to think about yourself and decide is, do you want to marry them? if you want to marry them, I would just never tell them that it's not real. I think they can look back on the situation and maybe in their head they're like, yeah, well, it wasn't real, but I really did want to marry you, so I took the chance. And sure, but you know, if you're not wanting to marry them, you should probably figure out a way to tell them that. Because yeah, like if this accidentally happened to me, I mean, I know my girlfriend would say no if I proposed like this, because like we've talked about things like that. But if you haven't like talked about this thing and you don't actually want this, you should probably find a way to let her down easy. Today I effed up by rescuing a goldfish that betrayed my little brother's heart. So I've been keeping fish for years, and I've been rescuing sad looking fish at pet stores for a while now. A few months ago, I rescued a sad little goldfish from a dollar store tank situation. Poor little thing was pale, skinny, and obviously was not being taken care of. I brought it home, got it set up in a 70-litre tank by itself. So this is where I f***ed up. My 7-year-old little brother is autistic. He's very particular about colours. His favourite colour is white. Not off-white, not cream, white. When he saw the goldfish, which at the time was still pearly white, he instantly fell in love. He then declared it his fish. And I just kind of laughed it off and told him he can be the owner if he takes care of it properly. He named it Snowball, which I thought was pretty cute. He fed it daily, watched it swim, even told it little stories. He was obsessed. I felt like the best big sister ever, to be honest. But then a couple weeks ago, he went away for a school trip, and during that week, Snowball turned orange. I knew this could happen. Goldfish often change colour as they mature, especially if they're rescues who are underfed or poorly housed. Better diet, proper lighting, and reduced stress bring out their natural pigment. But try explaining pigment development to a heartbroken 7-year-old. He came home, ran to the tank, stopped dead in his tracks, and stared. And then he burst into tears. So now he's mourning Snowball like he died, even though the fish is literally right there, swimming around and living his best orange life. I tried to explain, I even showed him old pictures, and he just whispered, "That's his cousin," and walked away. Oh my god, that's so sad. Yeah, that's, I don't think this kid is going to understand for a long time. I don't even know if this kid wants to understand. I mean, it's wholesome that you like rescue these fish and give them a good life. At least you know that this kid can take care of a fish if they like it. Maybe you try pick out an actual white fish for them. Today I effed up by giving my stool sample at a laboratory. I, 29M, recently started a new medication which was causing bloating and constipation. I went to a clinic nearby and saw a general practitioner, and based on my medical history, he recommended that I do a stool poo test. I've never done it before, so had no clue how it worked and was a bit embarrassed. Prior to my appointment, I had to wait at the GP for about 40 minutes because of delays. I had parked my car a couple of streets away and had only 1 hour parking, so it was in a rush to move it. My gut issues were also causing brain fog and anxiety, and as a result I made a blunder and did not collect the stool sample kit. I was not even aware that I was supposed to do this and did not know what a stool sample kit was. I managed to move my car on time without copping a fine and continued with my day. I made sure that I ate plenty of fruits and vegetables and drank lots of water. The next morning I took a new 2-liter Tupperware container and filled it with poo and closed the lid. Put the container in a paper bag and put it in an envelope and drove to the laboratory. I went to the desk and gave them the paperwork from the doctor, and when asked for the sample, took out the Tupperware and kept it on the desk. The attendant, a lady in her late 40s, was shocked and had a look of horror on her face and said you were supposed to collect the sample kit from the lab and bring it back to us. She showed me the sample kit and it was a container the size of my finger with a tiny spoon. I was standing there like an idiot with this Tupperware full of poo. The attendant started laughing. I've never been more embarrassed in my life, but it gets worse as one of the lab assistants shows up, which turns out to be a girl from my CrossFit class. As the attendant was trying to explain to her what happened, I stormed out. I ended up submitting my sample at a location 20 kilometers away from my house at a different branch and haven't been to CrossFit class for a week. I have this feeling that everyone knows and it's driving me crazy. That's crazy. I mean, I'm not sure what I would have thought in this situation, but I'm not too sure that my first thought would have been to go out and grab a 2-liter container to just absolutely fill with shit. I think I might have probably just asked, like, oh, how do I collect my stool sample? I'm not too sure how you walked out without not asking that. Yeah. But in terms of like all the workers and everything, they work there. I'm sure that happens a lot. And so, I'm sure not that situation happens a lot, but I'm sure they deal with stool samples a lot. If anything, they probably just think it's really funny. They don't really think anything else. Maybe a little bit unhygienic, the fact that you're walking around with that much shit. But you know, what are you gonna do? Today I effed up by accidentally discovering that I'm adopted. Hi, all of this happened last night and I am still not able to process it. I haven't told anyone about this, not even my friends. So I, 21M, have this cousin from my mum's side who lives in Vancouver. Never met the guy before yesterday because our families just never really connected or whatever. Anyway, cousin Jake, not his real name, is in town for some work conference and decided to stop by for dinner. Nice to finally meet extended family, right? Well, no. We're all having this totally normal dinner, talking about Jake's job, my college and stuff. My dad likes to gamble a lot, and seems like Jake is on the same boat, so they started to talk about it right until my mum bust out the old photo albums and we're flipping through the pics from before I was born. I make some joke about how dad's mullet was a crime against humanity, and Jake laughs and says, well, at least your biological dad didn't give you the ginger gene like my side of the family. He was a funny guy, so I thought he was just trolling me. I literally couldn't breathe. My tension went so high and I got very dizzy. The room literally froze. Jake looked confused and then horrified as he realized what he'd done. It was a fucking mess. Turns out I'm fully adopted and everybody knows except me. I also felt really bad for the cousin because I know he didn't mean to say it, because now my dad is very angry at him and I know it's not my fault, but it still kind of feels my fault. I don't know why. I just don't know what to do. I'm not being able to process this at all, and it's a very hard thing. I'm thinking of trying to go and find out who my real parents are. I just don't know what to do. I mean, that's quite the way to find out. With a cousin you've only just met. I mean, do they even tell this cousin that you don't know? You're 21. I never understand why parents who adopt don't tell their kids that they're adopted. Like, I know they're trying to, for those that don't tell their kids, I assume that they're trying to live with the situation like, oh, we are your real parents. And I mean, you are. Based on that the parents do the raising, they love you, they take care of you, all that. I've just never understood, like, keeping it from the kid. I've always felt like this, to be honest, could, like, break a family. Not saying something like this. It doesn't have to, of course. But it could feel like you've been lied to your entire life, or like you didn't actually know who you were, or something like that. And so I don't see why you should keep it from your kid. Personally, like yeah, if I had a kid, I would tell them they were adopted. Not just like, oh, you're adopted, but you know. It's a yikers. Good luck with whatever you want to do with that information. Today I effed up by spending 4 hours and $40 to buy something that was just a foot behind me. So I was working on my car and needed to finish it up last night so I could get the steering wheel aligned today. I started after work and had all the parts I needed. One side went really easily and the other side was tougher because my puller kept slipping off and I could not find the strut nut that holds the strut together. I looked all through all the packaging and tried the one from the old parts, but the thread spacing was wrong. So at about 3 AM, I decide to close my garage door, make 2 more laps around the garage, and then go to sleep so I could buy one in the morning. Still can't find it, and I start cursing the supplier that sold it to me because this means that the last 3 times I ordered from them, I got a part with a component missing. So I think maybe I can just bike over to the auto parts store down the street. I find my helmet easily, but I haven't ridden that bike in a couple years, so my bike tires are flat and my air pump is broken. Anyway, I pay $3 for a bus pass, go to the auto parts store, and they don't have it. Try the home improvement store nearby, and they don't have it either. Start calling around, and a hardware store has it, but it's an hour by bus each way. Pay for a lift over there, and then ask my friend for a ride back because the bus and lift will be 20 minutes before they get to me. Wait around a while, he can't find his keys, so I ask my ex. Finally got a ride from my ex for the price of lunch, and I make it home. I've got everything assembled and start cleaning up my garage, open and see one of the 2, just in case, new nuts I bought basically on the ground outside the garage. That's weird because I'm pretty sure I left the spare in my backpack. And then I realized that the nut I was missing was only lost because my garage door was closed. I mean, I am definitely the type of person to do this as well. I have a terrible track record with trying to find things. Would I have even thought to look outside? Probably not. Yeah, this is just one of those horrific situations when you realize that the last 4 hours of your life was a waste of time. I feel for you, buddy. Today I effed up by taking a pregnancy test and ending up at the hospital. Technically this was not today, but recently. As a quick backstory, I, 24F, had been diagnosed with PCOS and was told that I may still be able to have children, but that it would be harder due to the irregular cycle I have. There are tests and medications the doctor have offered, but in this economy and the healthcare prices, I get so angry that I have to jump through all these expensive hoops, so I have not continued the fertility testing/treatment process. To put it simply, I've been wanting children since the day I turned 18, and if all worked properly, I would have. So I am pretty positive that it will be a process for me to get pregnant, but until I can fully afford the testing, without having to put the rest of my life on pause, I just track my cycle and test periodically for ovulation and pregnancy. Basically, my period could come 2 times a month, or skip 7 months with no warning, and that is completely normal for me. Because of this, I never really think if I'm pregnant, but if I haven't had my period in more than a month, I'll randomly take pregnancy tests when I think about it. These tests are never planned, I just always have tests in my bathroom. Anyway, to the day in question. My boyfriend 29M and I were running errands on a Saturday morning. We'd been out and about from 10 to 2 and I didn't once stop to use a restroom. On the way home, I started needing to pee, and I was cool with waiting to get home. Once we get home, we had to take the groceries away and take the dogs outside. Taking the dogs out took about 15 minutes since we live in an apartment. By the time we made it back inside, I could barely hold it. I walked into the restroom and randomly thought of how I had not had my period in like 3 months, and that I could take a test right then. For a split second, I debated, but thought I would forget to take one if I didn't do it right then. So I started searching for my box of tests. I look under the sink, it's not there. I look in the cabinet behind the toilet, nope. Finally, I check the closet, and I find it. I struggle to open the test in the prep kit. This test is the small test strip type that you dip in your pee. I hope that makes sense. I'm opening the package and everything while barely holding onto my pee. Finally, I waddle over to the toilet and go to sit down. Instead of feeling the relief of releasing my bladder, I felt the worst pain I've ever felt shoot through my entire back and hips. And because of the way I sat down, the pain didn't seem to want to go away until I got up. So the entire time I was peeing, the pain was shooting through me to the point where I was boiling tears before I finished peeing. When I finished, I went to stand back up and couldn't fully due to the pain. I had to walk from the toilet to my bed, bent over in horrible pain with my pants/underwear at my knees. When I got to the bed, I thought I would be fine, and I thought I could just lay down. Nope, I couldn't even get on the bed because I couldn't move my back without the pain getting worse. So I yelled to my boyfriend because all I could do was cry in pain with my chest laying on the bed while I was stuck bent over. He came running in to find me with my ass out, sobbing, saying unintelligible words. I finally tell them that my back hurts and I can't move, and he helps me climb onto the bed and lay down. However, the entire time I am just screaming through the pain because no matter which way I moved, if I put any pressure on my lower back, it made the pain worse. And since I was so worked up, I was shaking and using more of my core, which just continued to make the pain worse. I started going into a full-blown panic/meltdown. I called my dad and he told me to go to urgent care if I needed to. I then called my best friend who had recently gone through similar back pain and had gone to have an MRI done. She gave me some tips on how to lay down and to have the least pressure and hopefully calm the pain. Finally, after getting off the phone, I was still crying in pain. My boyfriend offered to call the ambulance and I said no because we live in America. Be for real. Then he said he'd take me, but when I tried to get up to walk to the car, I couldn't. I ended up laying there crying in pain for 2 hours simply because I couldn't handle trying to walk because of how bad it hurt. Finally, after 2 hours, it has calmed down enough for me to walk to the car and into the hospital. I get checked out, which was a huge waste of time and money because by the time we left, all they had told me is I did not have a UTI and wasn't pregnant. They couldn't tell me why my back did that or if it would be a problem. They offered PT and sent me home. I later received bills totaling about $2,000 out of pocket, $1,850 deductible, for almost nothing. After 2 days, the pain fully went away, and luckily I had not had that happen again. However, it probably wouldn't have happened if I just left the pregnancy test alone. I get what they mean at the end there. They're saying that if they hadn't held their pee so they could take the pregnancy test, they wouldn't have been in so much pain. Which is a thing. It's something that I haven't done it to this extent, but it's something that I've done and something that it's supposedly common with people with ADHD, is that you hold it too long, maybe just because you're like sat there and you're like scrolling through your phone and you just, I don't know, don't have the energy or the willpower to get up at that time, so you just sit there holding your pee, and eventually you hold it too long. This is bloody painful. I appreciate all this like extra context that they gave us that a lot of stories don't, because now we understand why they were grabbing the pregnancy test and everything. So beautiful from you. But yeah, you definitely held it way too long. If it was for hours, that's not fun. But somewhat I feel your pain. And which is just a good reminder to everyone. If you need to go to the bathroom, try to get there as soon as possible. It can be worth waiting for like a couple minutes if you need to get to a bathroom, but it's not worth waiting like half an hour because it will mess up your insides. I think there was like didn't this like happen in like Euphoria or something? I only watched like a season, but I feel like that they had like Zendaya's character do that. I think. I don't know. But yeah, it's not good. Believe me. Anyway, I think that's enough screw ups for today. So thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that cool stuff. If you've made it to the end here, surely it's worth a subscribe and a like. But yeah, I'll catch you later.